Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My name is Saif Ali Premji. I work at the Citizens Archive of Pakistan. And I'm just going to start off by just introducing myself a bit so that you guys don't have an issue with conversing with me. I've been a teacher, and I've also been working at the Citizens Archive as a oral historian. So we record oral histories here. And this story that we're going to be talking about today, the novel Threading My Prayer Rug, I feel it is also very historical in the way that it's written. And apart from being a very good story, apart from being a very good novel, there are a lot of historical things in it that maybe we might have missed when we were reading it the first time. So I'd like to focus on that. First off, though, I'd like to get maybe if everybody or anyone who wants to talk about the novel, if they've read it, if there's something that they found interesting about it, if they would like to share with everybody, I'd really appreciate that. And then after you guys have shared, then yeah, absolutely, sure, go ahead. There's a lot of lag in your audio. I'm so sorry. Bismil, there's a lot of lag in your audio. So when you are saying something, maybe we can have somebody from the stool kids who are present together come up and talk, and then we can figure out your situation. Anyone who's read the novel? Walaikum salam. Yeah, now, yeah, I think it's much better now. Yes, sure. Go ahead. Please tell me what you thought of the novel. Megano, please tell me what you thought of the novel.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ishmael Zahid and I am from Grammar School Rawalpindi. The book Threading My Prayer Rug is based on a very different and rare plot. When I read the title of the book, I became really curious to read the book, and the title didn't give away any clue about the book. But after reading the book, I got its answer that Sabiha Rahman named it so because she had to knit a lot of threads to build a Muslim community in America. What developed my interest in the book was the different journeys of the writer, from arranged marriage to shifting to a new country, building a whole Muslim community over there to make herself and the other Muslims living in America comfortable. And I must say that it is a wonderful book to read. Secondly, the writer has written the book in a very beautiful way, and due to it, I was able to engage myself with the story easily. And I think the writer has a very formal way of writing the book, which I like most about the book. Another thing that I noticed while reading the book was that most people try to change themselves according to the society, but Sabiha Rahman tried to change the society around her. Um, and she did it by building a Muslim community around her, and she built mosques, religious schools for their children, and it is really motivational and inspiring.
Thank you so much, Biswal, for sharing. I really like that point that you said about changing the society around you rather than having the society change you. Um, could you give us an example of how it's better to change the society around you rather than having yourself change to conform to other people? Why do you think that's better? And anyone can answer this question. I think the kids at school are still trying to connect to the audio, but I'd really like to hear from them as well.
I think every society has its own way of living, and they have their own religious thoughts and culture and traditions. So it is not very easy to change in accordance with another society's culture and traditions. And I think that if we change according to another society, then we are discriminating our own religion and abandoning us, and uh, we do not feel freely talk about. For example, I read in the book that Sabiha Rahman said that there is a sense that free speech is not for Muslims and it's only to be enjoyed by Westerns. And she blames this whole thing to the Muslims because we are not comfortable and we do not take a stand for ourselves to talk about our religion with the non-Muslims and foreigners, as we are afraid to be called an outcast and to be discriminated. So I think this is a fact that we all must admit, and we should take appropriate actions according to it.
Very well said. Very well said. I really really resonated with me how there's a Western centricism in the world, and to amalgamate yourself, you must believe what the West thinks is right. But that's not the case. No, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. While the school tries to connect to the audio, and if does anyone else want to talk about it other than Bismil? Does anyone else want to talk about what they learned from the book? Anything that they might have wanted to share with their friends, or any sort of thought that came to them while reading the book? Anybody?
Assalamualaikum. My name is Abida Anis.
Walaikum salam.
I'm from Grammar School, Rawalpindi. This book, Threading My Prayer Rug, is a very motivational and inspiring book. With humor and warmth, Sabiha Rahman explains her journey from a Pakistani Muslim to an American Muslim, illuminating the joys and the struggle of being an immigrant in the US. She tells about the hardships with maintaining her identity as well as merging with them while negotiating with the present Islamophobia. She was a stranger in a completely new place, away from her loving family. She faced quizzical comments and stares from people who only knew Muslims as the bad guys in action movies and knew Islam for the acts of oppression and violence.
Thank you
She
so
was
much.
not an ordinary woman.
Mhm. What was your name again? I'm so sorry. One more time, if you don't mind. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what was your name? Sorry.
My name is Abida.
Abida, yeah, you were saying that the Western idea of terrorism, how she had to re-identify or reclaim that
Assalamualaikum.
identity.
This is Navita Riaz. I just wanted to inform you that we are using one link by the name of Ma'am Bismil. She's their teacher. So all the different students are participating from the same link. So there is participation of more than one student here. So just now the other student was conveying her thoughts. So I think there was some problem with the audio. If you want, she can repeat it once again.
No, I did get what she was saying. That's perfect. That's not a problem. Just before you say something, just state your name. That's it. Okay? That's fine. You can start from, you can do it again if you want to.
My name is Abida Anis.
Gee, thank you. Does anyone have to add to that? Does anyone want to add to what Abida said? You can add to it, sure. Walaikum salam. Yes, I can hear you.
My name is Ramesh Tehseen and I am from Grammar School, Rawalpindi. Today, I would
Hi,
like to
Ramesh.
share some of my views about the 10th chapter of this book. Chapter 10, The Christmasization of Eid. I like this chapter very much because of its concept. This chapter is a reflection of what the Muslim parents face and what type of questions their children ask in a Christianity-dominated society. There is a very thin line between logic and religion, and for children, this at times becomes very difficult to understand the principles of Islam. They are attracted by the glamour of Santa Claus, Christmas trees, and gifts. Parents are bombarded with the questions that are difficult to answer. Under such circumstances, They seek help from other minorities in those cultures and may need to celebrate Muslim religious events in the same manner as the Christians do. Despite the fact conflicts exist in the minds of children and they blend in with the glitter of other religions. Thank you.
Very well said. Thank you so much. I do feel that that was one of the main themes of the novel, and because all of you are sharing something about the novel, I would also like, if we do have a bit of time, so I think the discussion can go further. I'd like to share one of my favorite parts of the novel, and I'd like to read it out to you. And even though it won't seem like much in the beginning, if we really think about it, I think it truly talks about the struggles uh, uh, that the author went through when she was moving to America. If you guys don't mind, should I read it out?
Sure.
Okay, great. So the in chapter 5, it says a Pakistani bride in New York. And it starts with December 3rd, 1971, Amsterdam Airport, en route to New York. War has broken out in Pakistan. The Pan Am official at the gate informed us your flight was the last to leave the country. Did a bomb just drop on me? Oh God, no. What war? India, she explained. It can't be. How did a civil war in East Pakistan lead to a war with India? Did daddy get sent off to war? My uncles too. Will Rawalpindi get bombed? Mommy and auntie must be panicking. Dear God, please, please keep them safe. Please end this war. Um, the author has really talked about something that was an eminent part of Pakistani history, where she's saying that she's leaving the country right before or just starting when the 1971 war broke out. I don't know how many people of you, how many of you know about this, but of course, Pakistan was first broken up into two parts, right? There was East Pakistan and there was West Pakistan, right? And she's essentially talking about how she was leaving her country just as it was about to break into two parts, right? And that really struck me because essentially the entire thing where she has to be, and further, when you read further, it says that her father also knew that the war was about to take place and that the civil unrest in East Pakistan was going to lead to a break, but he still sent her off, right? And you do see the struggles of culture and the struggles of difference that exist within herself as she has to go and be in a different country with different people all around her. Have any of you ever felt like you are not fit to be in a place? Have you ever felt displaced, or have you always felt like you have people like you around you? I'd really appreciate if someone could talk about that. Have you ever felt displaced or feel like you are surrounded by strangers? Has that ever happened to anybody?
Um, as I was born in Pakistan, so I never really felt like it. I felt like I am at home and I'm free to go to any uh, place and do all the things that I want freely.
Okay, great. But has anyone ever felt displaced? Have you ever gone for vacation and felt really out of place or seen some sort of culture that doesn't make sense to you? No, everyone's been very comfortable with their lives.
Seth, can I give my input on this question?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Previously, I've been living in UAE with my parents there, and to be very honest, living in a country where women are wearing abaya, the men are segregated, the women are segregated. Um, Here in Pakistan, we go to parks, we go to concerts, we go to cinemas freely, but there is a little segregation there between men and women, and I really felt out of place. I went to a theme park there, and I couldn't enjoy the rides because if I tried to scream out of feeling joy or adventurous or something like this, I couldn't scream because it made me look odd in between all of these people wearing women abayas. I was wearing shalwar kameez, and I got those looks from their eyes that it made me feel uncomfortable, that I don't fit into this place. If I were wearing an abaya, I would have looked like one of them, but not wearing an abaya, not wearing clothes like they were wearing, not covering myself, and not behaving like they were behaving, sitting and eating, it made me feel very uncomfortable, and it made me feel like I can't fit between them. And this feeling is very real when you go from one place to another.
Absolutely.
And on the contrary, when I went to Sharjah, there is a huge community of Indians and Pakistanis there. And when you move around in Sharjah, you feel like you are similarly moving around in a city in Pakistan, because there are people wearing shalwar kameez. You see people of your own origin there. So you don't feel out of place in that state. But in Abu Dhabi or Dubai, you might feel that you are out of place here. So that's a very major contrast between those two states. Living in Abu Dhabi and living in Sharjah, you feel like you are out of place, and in one place you feel like you are at home.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing that. I'm sure the students also felt what you were trying to say, what you were trying to convey. Yeah, and I think Sabir Rahman also felt this when she did move to America, when she at her very young age, right? I think the book also has a theme of Islamic pluralism. Does anyone know what Islamic pluralism is? Anyone? You can even take a guess if you want to.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum.
Ji, walaikum salam. I can hear you.
I think that many people have different concepts of Islam. That is the meaning of Islam pluralism.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, people having many different interpretations of one religion doesn't necessarily mean that one is wrong or one is right or something along those lines, right? It generally means that how tolerant are you to people's understanding. So I feel that Threading My Prayer Rug has a very tolerant version of Islam, right? Where there's an acceptance, where, she talks about how one of her friends, her closest friends, was a Jewish woman, right? And in Pakistan, you could never imagine something like that. Or how she met a Hindu for the first time, right? Even though, yeah, we do have Hindus in Pakistan, but उनका इत्तेफाक नहीं हुआ था, वो नहीं मिली थी किसी हिंदू से, वो पहली दफा अमेरिका में मिली, ठीक है? So her brand of Islam, or the branch of Islam that she's trying to talk about, is a very tolerant and pluralistic view of Islam, right? I think that the book for anyone is a way to preach how Islam doesn't have to be rigid, how Islam doesn't have to be very demanding or controlling, right? How it is a religion of peace, and how it is a religion where you can find the best in people, right? That is one of the main themes that I felt was present in the book. Does anyone want to add to that? What did you think of the image of Islam in Threading My Prayer Rug?
My point of view about Islam is that Islam is not very strict and rigid, but some think that it is rigid and strict. According to me, it is a word in Urdu which is known as niyat. So Islam depends upon niyat.
Niyat, which is intention, basically, in English, right? So, sorry, what was your name?
Ishmael.
Ishmael, so you're saying that Islam has a lot to do with your intentions. And what do you mean by that? Do you mean like you should always have good intentions for whatever you do, essentially? Right?
Yes, Islam is all about positivity.
It's all about positivity, right? And I think the book also portrays some form of this. Um, I want to share with you guys a small video clip. It's just 1 minute long, and it just has to do with uh, why she wrote the book and what the reasons for writing the book were. Okay? So I'll just be sharing that in a minute. Please let me know if you can't hear it, okay?
Saif, we can't hear the video.
Okay, wait a second. Let me just share it again. कभी कभार ऑडियो का इशू होता है.
We are unable to hear you.
Okay. Could you hear it then? Or you couldn't hear it at all?
No, Saif, we couldn't hear it from the start. Saif,
Oh.
when you're sharing the screen, do you choose the option of share audio as well?
Yes, I do. So, okay, probably some sort of technical glitch. Share the sound. Mhm. Share.
Hello, I'm Sabiha Rahman, and this is my memoir.
Can you hear it now?
Yes.
Threading my prayer rug. One woman's journey from Pakistani Muslim to American Muslim. I was a young Pakistani bride when I came to the United States after a hurried, arranged marriage. Raising children Muslim was a balancing act. Do I get them a Christmas tree? On a religious holiday, should they take the day off from school? And what do I say to them when they hear voices on TV saying Muslims are terrorists? What can I do to change the image of Islam? I will reveal to you the heart of a Muslim woman. I will take you into the home of an American Muslim family, my family. You will sit at our kitchen table, listen in to intimate conversation, feel the emotion and the conflict, and know what it is like to be a Muslim in the United States today. You will note that the heart and soul of a Muslim woman and a Muslim mother is like that of any other. Take this journey on my prayer rug, and I will transport you through rich and elaborate threads of a lifetime. Hello, I'm
Great. Did everyone get to hear that? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So essentially, she was telling us why she found the need to write this book. One question to all of you is, have you guys heard of the term Islamophobia? It's a term that's thrown around a lot. Has anyone heard of it? Islamophobia.
Yes, it's commonly used.
Yeah. So it essentially means what? Could someone explain the meaning, please?
It means fear of Islam.
Yeah, fear of Islam, or more rightfully so, the fear of Muslims, right? Because you can be scared of a religion, but you're essentially more scared of the people who follow that religion, right? And growing up in America during the early 2000s, right, would have been very, very difficult due to particular events that took place. I don't know if you guys were old enough to remember. I don't think, maybe it was after you were born, but something called 9/11 happened a while back, and it essentially changed the way that the West viewed Islam. Does anyone know about this? Does anyone know about 9/11? What happened?
World World Trade Center was attacked.
Yeah, it was attacked. Yeah, with a plane. It was a plane went through it, right? And essentially, the rhetoric was that this is because of the Muslim world, and this is because of Islamic fundamentalism, and this is because of Islamic terrorism, right? I think this is one of the main reasons that people need to write more books like Threading My Pyramid, because it gives you a face of Islam which is not as fundamental or not as harsh as people in the Western media want to see, or people in the West think, right? I'm sure not everybody thinks that way, but some people do, and that's an image that needs to be changed. So my question to you again is, what do you think is important? What do you think is necessary to change the face of Islam, or to give it a more pluralistic and more tolerant face, right?
Um, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ishmael. So, as I earlier said, that we do not take a stand for ourselves, and we feel discriminated and to be called an outcast. So, I think this can be corrected if we start acknowledging ourselves and start talking about Islam to more people, for example, foreigners and the non-Muslims, so that they can be aware of our religion and our moral values, and will and due to this they will realize the fact that Muslims are not terrorists and bad people
Thank
by
you.
our actions.
Absolutely. By our actions, yes. Someone rightfully said that intentions are also very important. So I feel that's also integral to being a good anything, not only just a good Muslim, but having good intentions is important for being a good human being, for being a good Muslim, being a good Hindu, being a good Buddhist, being a good anything. You must have good intentions. And thank you so much for sharing that. Um, at the end, if any of you have specific questions about the book, or anything that perplexed you, that maybe you didn't understand, or maybe you want to talk about, I'll give you one chance to go around the room, talk to yourselves, and see if there's something that you want to bring up in this book club.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Abida. I don't want to ask any question, but I want to share a paragraph. I think that through this book, the writer wanted to convey a message to the world that we should value our customs and traditions, and above all, our religion. While reading this book, I came across a paragraph which was Sara Lee's cake didn't have the sweet, sticky texture of swirling jalebis. Hash browns didn't have the spicy sting of samosas. After reading this, I realized how we don't appreciate our culture enough while living it until we experience something like this. So we should always cherish our traditions and customs and live them to the fullest.
That's very rightfully said, and I really do appreciate that. Uh, if I'm gonna leave you with one thing, it's just that okay, so throughout my study or throughout understanding what the subcontinent is like and what our culture is like, I felt that we have always been put in the back foot, right? Muslims or the East per se has been put at the back foot, and all types of intellectual growth, rationality, humanistic principles, human rights. It feels like they all come from the West, right? When we talk about even when we talk about big writers and big theorists or people who have done good things for the world, it's always very Western centric. So my sort of, let's say, request to you guys is to rediscover your own roots, to rediscover your culture, and to understand that not everything has to do with the West, right? There are a lot of things, a lot of thinkers, a lot of people who have been a part of the East, who have cultivated ideas that have essentially been put to rest because of this Western centricism, राइट. और यही यही मेरे ख्याल से हमारा मसला है, और यही है कि हम लोग अपनी कल्चर, अपने लोगों को, अपने थिंकर्स को हम उठाते नहीं हैं, हम उनके बारे में पढ़ते नहीं हैं. और आई थिंक इफ आई कैन लीव यू विद वन थिंग, इट्स दैट please do read about your culture, read about your religion, read about the different religions of the East, right? Because there's not just Islam, there are many religions from this part of the world, right? There's Buddhism, there's Hinduism, theek hai, there's Islam, right? And I feel that in the book she also talks about the sects of Islam at some point, right? Where she talks about Shia Islam and she talks about Sunni Islam very briefly, but she does talk about it. And I think that once we understand that the differences between us are not too large, that there are very, very minuscule differences in the grand scheme of everything, I think we will be able to have a more tolerant and more peaceful society. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure talking to you. If anyone has anything else to say that they would like to add about the book or just in general, I would love to hear it. Other than that, I think that would be our session. Anybody wants to add anything, please go ahead.
I would like to share some of my views about chapter 11.
Absolutely.
A Muslim among Orthodox Jews. This chapter is about the culture and discipline of the Jews in the US. America is a blend of different cultures and religions. It is quite difficult for a person coming from an Islam dominated society like Pakistan and blend into the multi-religion environment. Moreover, Pakistanis support Palestine and despise the Jews. But as the time passes, people start thinking beyond religion and towards humanity. Despite the fact there are still many Orthodox Jewish communities that are disciplined in their heritage, culture, and religion. They even have established schools to teach their religion and language. We, as Muslims living in such cultures, are entrusted with the responsibility to promote our religion and culture. We must seize any opportunity that may support the cause of spreading the Islamic teachings as they do.
Thank you so much. That's very nice. Yeah, absolutely. Because If other cultures are promoting the good things about their religion, then it is our duty to also promote the good things of our religion and of our culture, right? And very rightfully said by the young lady who spoke before you that even samosas and jalebis are part of our culture, and big grand themes like Islam and Islamic principles and the principles of rights of women and the rights of even people who work for you, the rights of your family to you. These are all principles that have been laid down in Islam, which should be propagated, which should be told to the people, should be taught as much as possible. Okay, so thank you so much for sharing that view and sharing that part of the book. Does anyone else have anything to add?
I would like to add on about the writer Sabiha Rahman. I found her personality really wonderful and inspiring, and she never fails to challenge the present situation, and she deals with the problems very efficiently. And what she did is something very few or rare people do. And this type of action needs strength and courage, and above all, it needs self belief and motivation. She faced terrorist attacks, survived wars, and she also survived racism and family tragedy. But she still stood as the beacon of hope or a light of hope for all, and she never saw the difficulties in her life, and she always used to prevail the opportunities and seek opportunities. And this is something I believe is remarkable and unique.
Wow, thank you. That's very. I'm sure she would really appreciate that if she heard you. I think that's great. That's a very nice view on the author, and it's very apt as well. Very true. Her journey was a very significant one. Anyone else? Anything? कुछ भी दिल में आ रहा हो बता दे.
When you were talking about the Western community, so I remembered a, a poetry from Allama Iqbal, which is on the same uh, concept. It says that अपनी मिल्लत पर कयास अक़वाम मगरब से ना कर खास है तरकीब में कौम रसूल हाशमी. So it also revolves around the same concept.
That's amazing. Yes, it does. Absolutely, it does. That's very nice. Thank you so much for sharing. Um, okay, guys, if I can leave you with one thing, it's that it was really nice talking to you. I really appreciated everyone's input, and keep reading, guys. Just keep reading. I think that's the best thing that you can do. If it's not this book, then another one, and always have a plethora of books around you, because that's what will make you. मुझे लगता है कि इंसान ही यही बनाते हैं आपको सही तौर पे किताबें. ठीक है. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care from my side, and it's been a great session. I hope to see you all soon, and we can do another book, inshallah. Okay. Thank you.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Take care.
Allah Hafiz, Sam. Saif, thank you.
No worries. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.
Hafiz.